Hello, I'm Citrus, and you're looking at the first part of the Perfect Grade RX-78-2 build process and outlined in our handy-dandy construction manual. It is the head, as you can see here. So here is the more or less finished head. Typically, when I build my model kits, I would top coat each section as I finish it, but I'm holding that off this time. So this is the completed section with all of the decals prescribed in the instruction manual. And as you can see, there's only 3. The 2 no-step decals on the antenna and the caution on top. And unfortunately it looks a little bit messy because the decals aren't cut very well. So this is pretty typical of the old peel and stick decals that we would get with master grades and the like. And I don't know how well you can see it, but the decals, like the little graphic and where the decals actually cut, they're not very centered. And that's usually not too much of a problem because, you know, you basically can put the graphic where you want, right? And the edges, if there's too much, you just trim it off. But for someone like me, I usually need to use the edges of the decal to help me position it in the piece properly so that I can know that something's in the right place or symmetric. So not having properly centered decals is kind of a problem for me. It's a lot more challenging and time consuming for me to put these on. I always have to adjust back and forth and see if it's right, take it off, put it back on, and that's why the top piece looks rather messy right now because there's like a ton of adhesive over it. Hopefully after I do top coat this, it will look a lot better. And hopefully it'll also look more, well, detailed, because there does seem to be a lot of stickers here, so hopefully there'll be some left over for me to add some to the head and to the other parts of the body that will no doubt need it. Speaking of detail, there's not too much in general. There's the 2 panel lines on the sides of the face as usual, and these 2 on top, and that's basically it. The sculpt itself is very sharp, but you do see some fitting issues. There's a pretty large gap here, and you can't really close it up anymore. The pieces are in as much as they can. And here and along the back, you can see that this piece is centered, but I can't get the sides to like come in and stay like any closer to that. So maybe glue it down or something. And this gap in the back, you see, it's just there. Now keep in mind this is a really old kit, so it could just be due to the aging of the polycaps. I'm not really sure. On mine they are rather loose, so hopefully Topcoat will be able to fix that as well. And basically, yeah, there are a couple of spots you need to paint. So the little vents on the faceplate, you do need to paint that because this is just a solid piece of white. They're not cut through like these vents are here. I went ahead and painted the sides of the face on the inside black because I like the insides of my vents black, and also the black in the barrels. Also had to paint the lenses in the back and front clear red because all of the clear parts in this kit are uncolored. And you can open this up. Well, you need to open up these sides first. There's a switch for the LED, which I'll show you in a second. And you can see some nice detail in there. Also painted the light pipe on the inside red as well to have the color look more accurate when the light actually goes through it. So let's switch it on. Pulling down here. And there are the eyes, which look pretty good. Except they're green, and I would imagine that, well, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the RX-78 in almost all of its versions have yellow eyes, so if you want to modify this kit, this is probably one place to start. And yeah, you can sort of see the light coming through the top a little bit. The light has been somewhat dimmed by the paint, but at least, you know, it shines red instead of like orange or some sort of weird green color, so I'm fine with that. And I'm going to open this back up again to show you the battery compartment. there's a screw that would go in across the side, and you need to take off the side pieces to put it in. But it basically locks in the battery case, so if you wanted to change the battery, you would have to disassemble that head, basically, to be able to pull it out. But if you don't have the screw, it just slides out like this. You need one CR1220 battery, as you can see there. It just opens up like that. These are available pretty cheaply, and I'll make a separate video about Gunpla batteries. But yeah, it was pretty easy to find, and the access, without the screw is perfectly fine. So that's basically it. What else is there? Oh yeah, so the surrounds around the eye, I don't know if it's showing up very well on camera, but they are a little bit messy, and that's because the sticker, they provide stickers, 2 stickers actually, that you're supposed to put both on, so you're basically like 2 layers, and the eye holes are cut out for you, but the sticker itself isn't, and it might just be an issue with mine, but I've had to cut that out by hand, which was not exactly the cleanest thing. And there's a little bit of overhang on the bottom, so you wrap it in underneath the eyepiece, and I believe that's intentional to keep the light from leaking out underneath the eyes, and I think it works decently well. There's enough of a gap between the parts that it'll accommodate it without bunching up or wrinkling too much, so it should look fine. Interestingly, there are also more eye mask stickers on this, and similarly the eye holes are cut out, which you can sort of see, but these aren't cut out on mine either for some reason, and neither are the numbers. I don't know, there's just, I think I might have a weird one. And a couple of other things to point out is that fitting these little yellow bits in here is really tricky, because they're sort of like sitting there, but the left of the inside of the piece is open, so it's kind of easy to have it unsettled or have it going crooked, so it's a little bit of a challenge to get them to sit in there flush and straight. So yep, that's basically it for the head. One polycap for the neck, which, yeah, the total number of pieces in here isn't too many. The construction isn't very complex, and as you saw in the back, there's not actually that much mechanical detail. Like, can't really get this out of the way, but like you see that the back here is basically just flat. There are some good bits underneath here, but I don't want to risk damaging this, so I'm not going to take it off. You can see like a separate piece that goes into this. Well, it doesn't really connect physically, but it's supposed to look like the gun bits behind the Vulcans, and it's a pretty cool detail. So that's all for this first part. Next is the arms, I believe, so I'll be back when I'm done with that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.